Hi, everybody. Please welcome Ginette Brown. She's a certified career coach, and after over 15 years of experience in HR, she transitioned to focus to career counseling. She got a blog started, just got redirected in 2014 already, for those going through a job loss, to give them some support and resources. And now it has become her company name. Her passion is helping others with a career journey, so the work is aligned with their authentic self and they can thrive in this area of their life. And I love what she's doing because I wish the same for my clients as well. So please welcome Ginette. Hi, Ginette.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on, Erwin.
Yeah. Could you have ever thought that when you started this blog back in 2014, that this would become your full-time living?
No, I never would have thought. And it's funny, I thought to start that website just to help people who were going through a job loss, but I didn't think that I would be moving out of HR in order to do that full time.
Nice. So what made you decide to follow your passion of helping those people refocus in their career and following their passion as well?
Yeah, well, I've been working in HR since 2003, I think. And I really like the one-on-one conversations with people, the heart-to-hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And that just wasn't happening very often in HR. So in the summer of 2020, I applied for the career counseling program, and because it checked all the boxes, right? Like I could have my own business, I could work with people one-on-one, make my own hours, work from home, and all of that. So I did that. And then I also did my Reiki training in January 2020 as 2021 as well. So I did that's when I started my program. And then I was conflicted because I really liked the Reiki side of things and the metaphysics, but then I was also doing this career counseling program. And so then in January 2021, we needed to do a practice session with a client to take them through the career counseling process. And it was then that I realized that I really liked what I was doing, because I was working with that person and it made me feel so good that I was actually able to help her.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So, and how did this client reacted? Was she also happy that she found a passion, I guess?
She was. And I mean, she had no idea of what she wanted to do prior to us talking. And so it was through, I think it was like 3 or 4 sessions. And, we sat in my backyard and really dug into what it was that she wanted to do. And she was just so grateful, and she's well on her path now. And she's doing amazing.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful to see those people transform once they have found their passion and they know what it's like they get clarity, right? That they just know, I've been looking for this for my whole life almost.
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is asking the right questions, right? So a lot of the time when I'm talking to clients, we're talking about things that they never even thought of before, and getting into those really, deeper conversations about their values and what they really want. And I think that's what helps people tap into that, figuring out what their passion is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And does it come natural for you or for them, or do you actually need them to get started with some questions?
I feel like it comes naturally. Like there's generally a process that people follow with with career counseling, but then you also tailor it too, right? Because everyone's at different places. So it comes naturally in the sense that we're connecting, heart to heart, and then following that conversation where it goes, rather than following a structured, rigid process, right?
Yeah.
Because then it wouldn't I don't know if it would really work as well.
Um, I can take a guess. I don't think so. Yeah. I'm not sure how it is. You're located in the US?
No, I'm just outside of Toronto
Oh, just outside
in
of Toronto,
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how the schooling is over there, but I know from the Netherlands, we've got this like idea that we have to do our best at school, get a degree and get a job, right?
Yeah.
And we're actually not really asked to follow our passion. So is it different in Canada, or is it similar?
No, it's very much the same, I think. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the conversations are quite shallow in terms of what people want to do. It's really, well, what do you like? Okay, well, maybe go to school for this or that, right? And there's not that deeper discussion. I think there is some really good work being done in some high schools and universities helping students along that path. But there's also what happens is people tend to defer to their friends and their family, right? When they're having these conversations. So that's very limiting for people because the friends and family just tend to think of like the very narrow scope of what the person can do just based on their own perception of the person.
Yeah.
And that's where they get limited because the friends and family don't know the person's full potential and the person doesn't even know their full potential.
Yeah, great example. I see the same with my clients as well, indeed. I remember that when I was still practicing hypnotherapy and not really coaching, I had a client, she had a burnout.
Yeah.
And it actually came because she had the wrong idea what she liked, right? She was a planner. She planned personnel all around the world, so to speak. And after she got her first child, she returned to the work and she started planning goods.
Yeah.
So she thought she liked the planning, and she got into a burnout because she missed the interaction with people. She was a real people's person. So do you recognize it with your clients as well, that they have an idea what they like to do, but there's something deeper inside that actually makes the job fun?
Sometimes no. Like what I'm finding is people are wanting to do something completely different. So so that's where it gets really interesting in terms of looking at what their skills are, their competencies, their strengths, and then how they can leverage those for a different career.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And do you also get clients that at the end it's better for them to become an entrepreneur, or are they still choosing another career or finding new joy in the current career?
The people who I have spoken with have stayed in the corporate world. But that's not to say that there's going to be people who, continue to do that. I think the entrepreneurial side of things is really fulfilling for a lot of people, right? Because sometimes you can't find what you're looking for in corporate, so you have to do your own thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's also it can be a very risky step to become an entrepreneur, because you're losing all your like you don't have a fast income, it's
Yeah.
all a bit uncertain, and it takes a special kind of breed, I would almost say, to take on that journey, because some people, they do best when they just are in a career and do what
Yeah.
they're supposed to do.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, it is risky, but then like for me, it was the only option, it was the only, I didn't have to resist it. It was, it just was the only the only thing that, sorry, that made sense, right? For me to
Yeah.
do my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful, because if you find your passion, you know, you will find a way to achieve what you love to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a certain niche, or is a certain type of person that comes to you for assistance or help?
Yeah. So sorry. It's early in the morning here, and so my voice is still adapting. So for me, like the people who I tend to see are people who are career transitioning, right? So they're in their like, sort of their 40s, and they're wanting something more out of their work. And now what I'm doing is I'm moving into career coaching within organizations. So I'm still continuing that one-on-one side of things, but then I'm also offering career coaching in organizations to help to work with the employer or the HR to provide that service to their people. So then their people can be working to their fuller potential and be
Nice.
more engaged and reduce the attrition, right? I'm sure you're finding in the Netherlands, there's the great resignation and that. So it's one of those ways to like an add-on to the employee value proposition to
Yeah.
help people
That,
figure that out.
it's funny that you just mentioned that like the age of your average client, I would say, is about 40,
Yeah.
45. Do you think that's related to, um, let's put it this way, the midlife crisis that people go through, that they start thinking, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life until I retire? And
Yeah.
that I got this realization, maybe I should start doing something that I love to do instead of just making money for making a living.
Yeah, I think so. When I first decided to apply for the program, I knew that the pandemic was going to make people reevaluate their lives, right? And their priorities. And I knew that there was going to be a lot of shifting. I didn't realize that it was going to be to this extent, but it
Yeah.
just made sense, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a lot of what's happening. So maybe it's partly, midlife crisis type thing, but it's also the what the pandemic has done. It's, really forced a lot of us to go inward and figure out what what we really want from our work and what's really going to make us happy, and that there is something more to work than just punching a time card or
Yeah.
whatever it is that people were doing.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're the right person at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have um any story you could share about the client, how you transformed his or her life?
There was one client who I met with. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Hmm.
So she had been a stay-at-home mom for, I think, 6 years. And she was wanting to get back into the workforce, but she didn't know what she wanted to do. So prior to staying at home with her kids, she had had a very successful career. And so I worked through the process with her, and she ended up choosing something that was very different to what she did before, but it still had the key elements of what she was really wanting. Um, so yeah, she's still doing that. She's, very, very happy. And the thing that what I find is the real differentiator or the real trigger for people to move forward into a different career is talking to people who are in that career.
Mm.
Like they're called informational interviews.
Yeah.
And that was the defining point for her to figure out, okay, that she wanted to go on this different path.
Mm, nice. It reminds me. Sometimes I ask a question to my clients as well. If I'm looking for what a what a talent is, what skills they have naturally, and I ask them sometimes, when you were young, did you play with Lego? The little building
Yeah.
blocks.
Yeah.
And I said, in what way were you playing with this Lego? Were you just building it, following the manual, and when it's finished, you played for it for weeks, or were you already thinking about other creations during the building process? How
Yeah.
you were building a car, and in your mind, you were already thinking how to convert it into a boat or a plane or something else, right? And I always
Hmm.
say that if you are the latter one, then you have a very creative mind, and you should
Hmm.
find these creative skills in your new job or your new path you want to choose, right? Because it has been natural inside of you, and you should use it because you did it without anybody asking. It came natural to you.
Yeah.
And that's just what you just shared about your client, that she probably would have never thought of this career path, but it still includes the skills that she loved to do in her former career.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the keys. And when people are looking to switch careers, um, what is it that they enjoyed in the past that they can then bring forward to their new career?
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I just had an interview with another lady, and she started thinking about her own life and work she wanted to do, and she asked herself the question, "Why do people? Why do people come to me? Right? What is it that I do for them? Because probably it's a talent or a skill for me." Um,
Hmm.
how about you? Do you recognize it with yourself that the things you're doing right now, that you already did that in the past in some way?
Um, yeah, I mean, the relating to people is something that I've always done, right? In HR, there's very much that, the sensitive conversations, that one-on-one connection with people.
Mhm.
So I think that's why that part of it is so comfortable for me. Um, yeah, I think that's the main thing, and, like, just having that trusting relationship with that person, and, establishing that trust so that they feel comfortable too, right? Telling you
Yeah,
what's on their mind.
yeah, nice. So, um, I guess that those skills you have and the experience you have, it could also help, like students that are looking for the first career. Are
Yeah.
Is that something you would be interested in as well, or are you more focused on your current niche, so to speak, the 40 plus employees that want to change career?
Um, yeah, I mean, I did have someone reach out to me who's a student. They have a lot of support at the universities, and
Mhm.
they're doing great work there. So that's not necessarily an area where I'm thinking that, people are going to come from in terms of clients. I do really like working with people who have already been working for a bit, even at, late 20s, who have something they're, like, where they've had that experience, and then they're trying to make a decision, and that I really like that side of things. And then I also really like the the career coaching within organizations. I think that's a missed opportunity right now, because companies are doing people development, but that's not the same thing. And so, um, bridging that gap, that's where my mind is.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So I had in one of the earlier episodes, at a retired police officer who's doing now leadership trainings for the police force all over USA. And he said also that he recognized there were a lot of managers that he encountered that weren't necessarily good managers, but they were just seniors that became promoted to become a manager.
Yeah.
And when you're a manager, doesn't mean you're a great leader, right? That's can be two totally different things. Do you recognize it as well, that you get some people that have become manager and doesn't like to be just because of the seniority, but not because they're meant to be a manager or a leader?
Oh, for sure. I mean, in the HR, there's actually like a saying or a theory that people get promoted to the point of incompetence, right? Not everyone, but there is that possibility because people have a certain skill set and then they continue to get promoted to the point of, they top out, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, there's absolutely a difference between the managers and the leaders. So the leaders, lead by example, and they, foster that trust in their teams, and they lift people up, and yeah, it's very, very different.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself within, let's say, 2 to 3 years? Are you staying like a solopreneur, or do you want to have employees yourself, or what's your dot on the horizon?
Yeah. I see myself, I mean, I could still be a solopreneur. There is also the option, if there are a lot of companies that are interested in this career coaching in organizations, for me to have a small team, and then we'd work through together. I don't think it's going to become an empire, but but I do see myself, possibly having, a few other people, right, who are passionate about this. And it's funny, I was talking to an HR person, an HR exec, a couple of weeks ago, and she's fully aligned with this, right? So I could see maybe there's other HR people who are interested in doing this type of work.
I think you just hit a little item that's very important, that if you want to grow your business, and work with somebody else as a co-founder or employees or whatever, that they should be aligned with your core values and what you do.
Yeah.
So is this something that you also help your clients with, to find their own core values, to what align to their internal processes?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a large part of career coaching. So yeah, we work through that, and that comes out through the counseling side. And then there's also assessments that you can do as well. But it becomes really obvious once you really start having those conversations with people, those values really start to percolate. And it's so important that someone's values are aligned with their work, because if they're not, then they're going to feel off, right? It's not a full expression of themselves when it's not aligned.
And like the former client I had, that can even lead to burnout if they're not careful and listen to their own internal voice.
Right. And I mean, there's the analogy, it's like vacuuming without having the vacuum plugged in, right? You're just going through the motions and doing things, but you're not plugged into what you are really meant to be doing, or want to be doing, or should be doing, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor, you know, like vacuum cleaning without the plug in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a waste of energy and time.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And it's not effective.
No, totally not. Yeah. So do you have any anecdote you could share from your experience as an HR expert?
Like in terms of career coaching or
Yeah, maybe that somebody got this light bulb go off in their mind that they thought, you know, I could have never done this.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really talking to people who are doing those careers and really doing your research, right? Is part of it. And just to make sure that you've got realistic expectations. So that's the first part. And then the second part, you know, you said a little bit about listening to your inner voice and that. And that's the other part, right? Because your friends and family, you know, only have a certain scope of who you are. And so really tapping into what it is that feels good for you, right? And following that through, you know, and not worrying what other people think, you know, because it might be something very different and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Do you support your clients in that as well? Because I can imagine if they, let's say they're a manager, you know, at almost C-level status, and they actually want to be a DJ, for instance, you know, and they
Yeah.
decide to go for this because they love music, it fills their heart. I can imagine that they're also getting a lot of negative remarks from their friends and family as well. So you have to, if you truly want to pursue your passion, you have to be determined and persevere against that. Is this something that you can support your clients as well with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is, you know, an emotional moral support component. But what I find, and in Canada, there tends to be that fail first approach to career counseling. So, so people wait until they absolutely have to, they're in a dire straits about it, right? So when I see people, it's like, they have to make that change because they're just at the point of no return. So yeah, it's a logical choice for them in terms of making that change. So there's not that effort there.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And how do you get your clients? Is it referral based, or are you connected with some partners that?
Yeah, it's referrals. It's through people I know. I'm also part of a women's networking group, so through there as well, I think are the main ways.
Nice. And it's amazing that we're in the people's business, so to speak. So referral based business, that's a key part of a business, right? And it's amazing because if you're getting referrals from your previous clients, it means you're doing a good job, right?
That's right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't refer you. So,
exactly.
Do you have any tips for, or maybe a little piece of wisdom that you could share with the audience to, if they're thinking about, if they're on this crossroads, you know, what to do, or follow their passion, or what is it, or?
Yeah. I think it's tuning into what it is that you need and what you want, rather than looking externally, because everyone's on their own journey, right? So when we're looking to other people to help us with our journey. They're on their own path and it doesn't necessarily help. So really tuning into, what you want, whether that's, through meditation or journaling or something like that. Career coaching can help as well, because we dig into all different parts of yourself and help you figure things out, right? Through asking the right questions. Yeah, I would say that that's the key thing.
I think it's a very important thing, indeed, what you mentioned. Don't let the external world lead you to in making your decisions. But if you truly want to find what you actually want, go inside and find the answers over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the answer is there, right? We just need to figure that out, and that's sometimes not easy.
Yeah. Sometimes they say it's simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So if people want to know more about you or get in touch with you, how can they do that?
So my website is justgotredirected.com. Or my email is info@justgotredirected.com.
Nice. It was lovely talking to you, Ginette. And I know how passionate you are about people doing what they love to do. And I feel the same, if people do what they love to do, they're putting positive energy in it, and it will show. And also the employees will benefit from that as well. So I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
It was great talking to you. I know it's early on your side,
yes,
but I hope you liked it as well, and I hope the listeners will contact you if they need any assistance in finding what their passion is.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me on, Erwin.